So if you're trying to figure out the cheapest way to get your CDL, especially in 2026, this video is definitely going to save you some time. If you like these type of videos, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, share this with a friend who could help, and we'll kind of just dive in. So you're trying to get your CDL and you're just trying to figure out what's the cheapest way and what's the most cost effective way to get your CDL without spending so much money that you're broke when you get your CDL. There are a few ways that can help you, and we'll kind of break each one down in this video. For this video, I'm pretty much going to state 3 ways. There may be more ways and maybe less. Who knows? Well, I can't say there'll be less because these are 3 ways that I know for sure will work, especially depending on where you live at. So just keep that in mind as well. Now, one of the first ways we're going to talk about is company paid. So with company pay, you're looking to get your CDL paid for. And basically, in return, you will give them some type of commitment to work with them for a certain amount of years. So I'm going to kind of give you an idea based off my experience, and you can kind of search your area, figure out, who's hiring and who does the program right now. But yeah, so for me personally, just give you a little bit of background. Uh, I went through Coca-Cola, got my CDL about 4 years ago now. And from that, I got my endorsements. I didn't need endorsements to drive for them, but I got my endorsements anyway. So I was able to start the business that I have today. So I worked with them after being promoted for so many times. And I also have my own CDL training business. We'll get to that later on in this video. But for this sole purpose, the way it worked was when I got hired, I got my permit first. And then around 6 months down the line, I ended up doing what's called the entry level driver training. So back in 2022, February 7th to be exact, the FMCSA issued mandate training that had to be completed from a certified training provider. So that's why I ended up becoming to start my side hustle. But however, when I was at Coca-Cola, what I had to do was I had to go through their entry level driver training. So what it consists of is 5 weeks of pretty much on the road driving or on the road training, pre-trip, even just some of the theory training, which is like a separate portion. Basically, like your written portion of it, not your physical training that you go through as well. So I did that for 5 weeks, and the commitment was 2 years. So pretty much, I didn't pay anything to go through that company or go through the company I'm with now. They paid for me to go to school. They pretty much used their staff that they hired in internally to train us. And what came with that was I was still able to get paid every single day like a normal 9 to 5. So I wasn't running routes or anything. I was just pretty much waking up, coming to the plant, getting in a company vehicle, driving to the uh, plant that did the training, which is like an hour away. And we did training for pretty much 8 hours a day, and then we went home. It was very nice. Not all companies are like this, so but you're still getting some type of paycheck. Also, that's one big thing to point out. That's why I put this pretty much at number one. Um, like I said, the only thing that came with it was commitments. If I was to leave within those 2 years, say for instance, I just found a better job and whatnot, and I feel like I would do better somewhere else. What happened was I would end up paying $1,000. So I think it was $1,000 that comes out your last check. So however you want to look at it, worst case scenario, we got paid every week as a driver. So um, that $1,000 that you pretty much just made running your route, you would just be giving it back to them for your last paycheck if you just stop showing up, I'm guessing. So that's one way. There are other companies out there. Let's say, for instance, if you're okay with traveling or whatnot, like before I went to Coca-Cola, I had a company reach out to me called TMC. Uh, Sounds like it's from what I read, it's a really good company, flatbed company. Basically, they would did the same thing: bring you in, train you up for about 5 weeks, 4 weeks, however, you know. And also, just going back a little few seconds, Coca Cola, once you're done with the training and they certify you, they put on your driver record or whatever, you then are taken by them to go take your road test. So you do your pre-trip, backing, and your road test all in the same day with Coke. But they make sure you're prepared for it, so it's a good thing. But going back to TMC, so with them, it was a little bit different. So you would actually travel out. They would like pay for you to get it was like pay for you to get a rental car, whatever. You would go to a certain location. I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was a little bit up, a little bit in the south. Well, not south, a little bit up north from where I'm at. I'm in Alabama for context, but So you will go up there, train with them, and then you will route someone like a trainer potentially after you got your license and everything, and then they will let you on your route, and then you would be on, I think, the OTR. So OTR was like a couple weeks out, like 3-4 weeks out, and then you come home for like I think it's 48, 72 hours. I don't remember what the reset is there, but that's one way. Some companies out there like Swift. I'm pretty sure everyone hears about Swift. I've never looked them up or anything just because of the reviews I've read. So I can't tell you, but a lot of them they train you and you could be regional. But most companies who are doing this are going to want you to be a regional driver or OTR driver. You get some money here and there based off the mile, but it's also it can fluctuate from my understanding. When you go with local companies like Coca-Cola or PepsiCo or Buffalo Rock, I know Buffalo Rock does the training program similar to what we do at Coca-Cola, but I don't know exactly what the deal is with PepsiCo. It might be the same, might be different, but as far as Coca-Cola, I got paid by the day, no matter what, because when I got my own route, I was paid by the day, so I kept my same pay as my position that I was hired as. So that's the good thing about it. So you pay, by the day and whatnot. So that means you're in class, you're just gonna make the same thing every single day that you work. Um, Pepsi same way, Buffalo Rock same way. So that's another thing to keep in mind. The pay difference is a lot. Like at Coca Cola, my first year I was making around 55,000. Then second year, of course, we went to a commission structure for the truck drivers, so they get paid off the cases they're taking in. So I was around 66, and then I went to around 78 the next year because I was getting promoted back to back, and it just kept snowball compounding. Uh, as far as where I'm at now, but it's only because I have a side business. It's grown at least 30%. So that's just a way to look at it, though. The pay is very different between local companies, local distributed companies, and then OTR regional. So option one overall, it can cost some money, but also can be relatively cheap or work in your favor. It can also be bad if you decide to get your license and just leave. Now you're down $1,000 that you could have been just keep making a week. Now I'm not gonna say you're just gonna go in there and making $1,000 every company that you train in. So please don't believe that. I'm nowhere near giving out the actual payroll for each position or whatnot. I have videos that talk about it on my page, but feel free to go check that on your own. So that's option number one. Option number two will be to go to your own school that's in your area and separate the entry level driver training from the behind the wheel training. I know it may sound crazy because you're like, why not just do both of them there? But I found a lot of upcharges when it comes to doing both. Not even upcharges, just it may be a little bit higher than what you could do it for outside of. So what I usually recommend people to do, especially when they come through me and watch my videos about this type of content, uh, I run a entry level driver training course academy. So basically, the training that you do behind the wheel, I do the online portions of it for Class A, Class B, school bus, hazmat, and passenger. All those have those requirements for you to pass a entry level driver training for behind the wheel and online portions before you can get those endorsements or your license. So basically, the way you would divide this up is if you go to the website I have, which is academyofdla.com, it'll be linked in the description, everything as I'm talking about this. So you go there. My course is only $20, so you will buy the $20 course. You would get your training done like an hour later. It usually takes like an hour to get that done. We put it on your driver record. So now when you go approach a school that's in your area that you want to do some truck driver training with, you're like, hey, I got my theory training. I just need my behind the wheel training. So now they're not like throwing that extra cost on you for theory training. It might be higher, might be the same. I know it's probably not going to be lower, but that's just something to keep in mind because instead of doing it all in house and getting that charge on there, that way you can have the like, hey, maybe I'll pay a few thousand, few $100s, however it might be. You might save a little bit of money there. You're also asking yourself, why would I do this when I could just go through a company? Well, some people have trouble getting hired through a company, and then also the second part is when you go through a company, you have commitments. Let's say if you don't want a commitment, let's say if you get a job like that and you hate it, now you're stuck with it unless you just want to give up that last check or however much it is. So this is like a huge gap for that career field, because when you get done with that training and whatnot, and you pass through the school, you have no type of obligation to any company. So let's say, for instance, the company comes out and hires you immediately, like, hey, we would like to hire you, because most times when you go through a school or some type of truck driver academy, they have sponsors with companies around them that will be encouraged to hire you right off the spot based off how good the training is. So keep that in mind. That can play a huge factor. It can be a win-loss situation, because what if you do and don't find a job right away? It's a lot of possibilities, but the most common outcome of this is that you will do it, get a job, and if you hate that job, you go find another job. Well, I'm not saying build a huge resume of 20 trucking companies in 1 year. That'd be crazy for you to do. But I am saying that it gives you a little bit more freedom when it comes to picking a job. Now the cost can vary. I'm not sure how much CDO school costs for the behind the wheel training. I just know I do the online portions for all this stuff, and I only charge $20 for every course I do. That may not be the case for everyone, especially behind the wheel training. You got to think about how much they're paying for the trucks themselves, maintenance, and all that stuff. So it could go probably a couple grand, probably more, probably less, depending on the school. So you just, best thing for you to do is just search up training providers near me for CDO. You search that up in your Google search engine, and usually a FMCSA website pops up where you can just go through all these training providers and do a search, because you want to make sure they're approved to teach, so that way you get credit for when you do the training, and that also they're near you, and that they're still open and operable. So you gotta make sure a lot of that stuff. So the best way to do is go to that website. I will put it below in the description, along with the other links I'm going to put in there, so that way you guys know what website to go to find training providers that are in your area also. But that just keeps you from overpaying or whatnot. Uh, so yeah, third, there's one more option that we do have, and that option is kind of a hit or miss. I'm not sure how it works in everyone's areas, but that is getting assistance from your local workforce development, from the state, however you will look at getting a grant maybe. And the best thing for that is you just go talk to your local workforce department or workforce development office. Just finally see if you have a center near you, because usually they have programs for those who aren't able to pay for certain stuff, pay for that training and whatnot, help them out and assist them, give them some type of grant or some type of maybe even loan almost when it comes to paying for that CDO school. So that way, you can actually obtain your CDL without breaking the bank. Also, the CDL schools, some of them that are charged for the behind the wheel, they usually offer a lot of finance options, but you have to be approved to do it, I'm sure. So keep that in mind. So if you can get it through the workforce development, maybe it'll be a little bit more lenient on stuff like credit, income, and all that good stuff. But that's just me, giving that third option, because I know some people probably watching this video up to the end and just like, neither one of these might not work for me, or it may not be my time, or I'm having trouble finding a job. The way I found my job, and I found 3 different companies before I went through Coke, and I use Indeed. Indeed is definitely your friend. Indeed helps you out a lot. It may not seem like it does, but if you just go type in CDL, new CDL drivers or something like that, or CDL training on Indeed, and just put your location, a lot of times you may have stuff pop up. If I was a CDL academy, or even not CDL academy, CDL company that knows that I can get some type of referral for training, I would definitely put that in my job posting. So that way they can be like, hey, you get hired, but you're not going to pay. But when you do get done, now you have the option to come work with us. That way you're able to pay it back fast and get you a job on the spot. So a lot of things that can happen for this type of career field. In the end, though, I always recommend everyone get their tankers, get your hazmat for sure, and definitely get your doubles and triples. Just in case you have some other type of jobs that pop up, you might want to change around from hazmat to this to tankers to this. So it just all depends. But I hope you guys got a lot from this type of information in this video. If you did, just be sure, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, share this with a friend, leave me some type of feedback, comments, questions below. But yeah, like I said, so just for a little bit of context for me though, I've only had one CDL job. That's been with Coca Cola. I did drive in the Army, but I still had to get my CDL because I didn't get it. I didn't use the waiver or whatever before the time period passed. So do that. I did that. Stayed on the truck for 2.5 years. Got promoted to a supervisor. Was kind of like a relief truck driver too, and a supervisor over merchandisers. Did that. I also had started my CDL training academy that year. So I was able to go from around 55, and last year total income I did like around 130,000. So CDL can definitely take you a lot of places depending on what you want to do with it. You just have to get it, compromise, and use a lot of strategic ways to increase your income and approach different companies, because in the end you want to get to a spot where you're comfortable and also doing this career field that you should potentially want to do every day. So yeah, I hope this helps somebody, and I'll see you guys in the next video.